Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Goin The Distance. This is episode 83. Can you believe we've done 83 episodes? I can't, but I want to welcome the new members who are just joining me for the first time, and I want to welcome back the members who've been joining me from the beginning. Your support is greatly appreciated. So before we get started, hit that thumbs up button and like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode when I post a video or a short. And share this video out and share it to your friends. So we've got some NBA news to talk about. We've got some football news to talk about. And I'm going to go through my top 5 NFL players that never won a Super Bowl. And we've got some Formula One racing to talk about. And then, of course, we've got the What We're Listening To segment. So first, let's start with some NBA news. So this week it was reported that Chris Paul, NBA point guard, said this coming season is going to be his last season. He was drafted in 2005 to the New Orleans Hornets, and I know that sounds weird because you think Hornets, you think Charlotte. But there was a period of time where the Hornets moved to New Orleans and the Charlotte were the Bobcats. So he was drafted to the New Orleans Hornets back in 2005 and played for the Hornets, Clippers, Rockets, Thunder, Suns, Warriors, and Spurs. He's a 12-time NBA All-Star, 4-time NBA All-NBA First Team, 5-time All-NBA Second Team, 7-time All-NBA All-Defensive First Team. So he's good, and he's never won a Super Finals. He's a 5-time NBA Assist Leader, so maybe this year will be his year to win a championship, win the finals. He plays for the Spurs, and the Spurs just got a new coach a few weeks ago because Popovich retired, so we'll see how that goes. Moving on, we're going to talk about James Harden, who has been informed that his number 13 jersey for the Houston Rockets is going to be retired, because he played from 2012 to 2021 with the Rockets. But before that, he was drafted in 2009 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And that's where everybody knew him from. When I first started paying attention to the NBA, I knew him with the Thunder. And then I remember when he got traded to the Rockets, what I thought a big blow that was. But he's done phenomenal things. He did phenomenal things with the Rockets. And then he's just kind of signed these 1-2 year deals with Brooklyn, the 76ers, and then most recently with the Clippers. But his jersey is number 13 jersey with the Rockets is going to be retired. He's an 11-time NBA All-Star, 6-time All-NBA First Team. He's a 2-time All-NBA Third Team, 3-time NBA Scoring Champ, 2-time NBA Assist Leader, and his number 13 jersey retired by Arizona State, where he went to school. So he's another one that needs to win a championship before he retires, and I think he will. There's still plenty of time for that to happen with him. But moving on, that was all for NBA news. Now let's talk some football. So now we're going to talk about Pittsburgh because, it wouldn't be a show if we didn't talk about Pittsburgh a little bit. And I know, Peter, you don't like Pittsburgh. I don't and never will. But, there's a reason we talk about them, because their players just get so wrapped up with themselves. Like T.J. Watt, for example. The Steelers and T.J. Watt are far from an extension. Well, I'm okay with that because T.J. Watt still has a lot of money that needs to be paid out for his contract he's with now. Plus, I think he's got like 2-3 more years on his contract. And he wants an extension. What has he done to deserve an extension? I can't think of anything except his last name's Watt. He's J.J. Watt's brother. And he's got another Watt brother that plays for the Steelers. And that's about all we know. I mean, yeah, he's a good He's a good player, but has he won a championship? No. And you win championships, you deserve extensions. Maybe, and I know his rookie contract is coming up, and then that will be a time for an extension, but there's still like 2-3 more years on that. So run that contract out. Don't sit out. Don't ask for more money, and just play what you're going to do instead of getting the big head like Aaron Rodgers does, and try to leverage yourself, because that's not the way to do it. But moving on, Troy Polamalu has been elected to the NFL Hall of Fame. I think that is absolutely fantastic. I watched Tony Polamalu play. If you watch him on now, you see him on these Head and Shoulders commercials with Patrick Mahomes or Crybaby Mahomes. And it's just, I mean, he was a good player back in the day. So he deserves he's won championships. He was with the Pittsburgh Steelers back when Roethlisberger was with them, and Hines Ward and Jerome Bettis and all those. Jerome, Troy, and Hines, in my opinion, were the best part of Pittsburgh back in the day. Now, don't even know. Don't even care. But congratulations to you, Troy. Love you. Loved your play and miss watching you play, but you deserve it all. But moving on, we're going to talk about the top 5 NFL players who never won a Super Bowl, but I think should have. And starting at the top of the list is Randy Moss. He has played in 2 Super Bowls. He played in one of the Super Bowls with the New England Patriots back in Super Bowl 42, and then played in the Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers, Super Bowl 47. And his best shot to win the Super Bowl was back in Super Bowl 42, because that was when the Patriots went undefeated. Now, he's a 5-time NFL receiving touchdowns leader. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro. He's an NFL Comeback Player of the Year, NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. He made the NFL's 100th anniversary All-Team. He was the NFL 2000s All-Decade Team. And he's just an all-around good guy. He was elected to the Hall of Fame. He's had 983 receptions, 15,295 receiving yards, and he has 152 receiving touchdowns. I mean, the man's good. And played with Tom Brady. So all of a sudden you think, well, why didn't he win that Super Bowl? Well, that's because of the Giants, and that's kind of a sore subject for me, because the Giants came in and beat the Patriots on their undefeated season, and the Patriots were just blowing people out, just blowing them out. And then they go to the Super Bowl, and the Giants come up, and Eli Manning turns out of this tackle that he should have been tackled and throws the ball downfield. That New York player catches the ball on his helmet, and this is the end of the game, and New York wins. And then from there, Randy goes to Minnesota, where he doesn't do much. Tennessee, and then he goes to Tennessee, where he still doesn't do much. And then he ends up in 2012 with the 49ers. And they make it to a Super Bowl, but then lose to Baltimore, I believe it was that year. So Randy, and a phenomenal guy. He's just beaten cancer. So Randy, you deserve it. You're the first person on the list. When I was making this list, you were the first person that I came up and thought, you need it. Right there. Moving on, number 2 is Julio Jones. He played for the Atlanta Falcons for the majority of his career. And then he played for Tennessee, Tampa Bay, and ended his career in Philadelphia. Played 1 year in Philadelphia in 2023 and then retired in 2024. But he went to the Super Bowl 51 with the Atlanta Falcons. Now, yes, that was his best chance to win a Super Bowl. And in my opinion, if y'all watched last week's show, I did my top my top 3 greatest Super Bowls of all time. And the Atlanta-New England Super Bowl was in that. Julio Jones played in that Super Bowl. And he could make a catch like Randy Moss could make a catch that nobody else could catch. Julio could grab the ball and tiptoe the sidelines and still stay in bounds. And Atlanta was up 28-3 in that Super Bowl. And then with the last 5 minutes of the Super Bowl 51, New England comes out and wins the game. And that was Julio's best shot to win a Super Bowl. After that, he floundered around and signed these 1-year deals and just never had the option to go back. But Julio, again, great career, deserve a Super Bowl. Best of luck in retirement, buddy. Moving on, Steve Smith Sr., one of the best players in Carolina Panthers history, in my opinion. He went to the Super Bowl back in Super Bowl 38 again, played against New England. He was with Carolina at the time. He was with Carolina for the majority of his career, where, in my opinion, he was floundered. Because he played with Jake Delhomme. He played with Cam Newton. And neither one of them utilized his talent. He goes to Baltimore in 2014 and just flourishes with Baltimore and goes off, catches these balls, just breaks free and runs down the field. And his best bet was to win the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 38. But that, if we're talking Super Bowls from the past that should have won, Carolina should have won that game against New England because they were back and forth, and that was the team Carolina was built to win a Super Bowl, not Super Bowl 50 with Cam Newton where he dives for the ball and then stands up. Everybody knows that was the turning point for people with Cam Newton. But Steve, I enjoyed watching you on NFL Network, hearing your insights, and you're a NFL Comeback Player of the Year in 2005, 2-time first team All-Pro, 2-time second team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, NFL receptions co-leader, NFL receiving yards leader, both in 05, NFL receiving touchdown co-leader in 05. You had 1,031 receptions, 14,731 receiving yards, 81 receiving touchdowns, 4,055 return yards, and 6 returning touchdowns. So, you deserved a Super Bowl for sure. Next on the list, I've got Adrian Peterson, who spent the majority of his career with the Minnesota Vikings, where everybody who knows football remembers him from. Then he played for teams like New Orleans, Arizona, Washington, Detroit, Tennessee, and then ended his career with Seattle. Now, he has been wrapped up in controversy here lately, but in my opinion, none of it was really his fault. He was a 2012 NFL MVP, the 2012 NFL Offensive Player of the Year, NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year in 07, 4-time first team All-Pro, 3-time second team All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time NFL rushing yards leader, 2-time NFL rushing touchdown leader, and he made the 50 greatest Vikings of all time. So, how you hadn't won a Super Bowl, how you didn't win a Super Bowl, Adrian, is beyond me. But I've enjoyed following you, your career, on and off the field. And to round out the top 5, we have Tony Gonzalez, who people remember him from the Atlanta Falcons, but probably what a lot of you guys don't know is that he played from 97 to 2008 with the Kansas City Chiefs. And then he was traded to the Atlanta Falcons, where he was more utilized in Atlanta than he was with Kansas City. He's a 6-time first-team All-Pro, 4-time second-team All-Pro, 14-time Pro Bowler, NFL receptions leader in 2004, the NFL 2000s All-Decade Team, which is something, NFL's 100th anniversary all-time team, which, I forgot to mention, Randy Moss was involved with that one too, along with players like Gronk and Tom and all those players. He's in the Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame, and he was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame several years ago. He had 1,325 receptions, 15,127 receiving yards, 111 receiving touchdowns, and he does the halftime shows and the pregame shows on Amazon Prime on Thursday Night Football that started a few years ago. It was him and Richard Sherman and Ryan Fitzpatrick and that Andrew Wentworth, all retired players. And then they've got, I believe it's Carissa Thompson as the host of that, but I tune in to see Tony and hear what he has to say. But before we move on to anything else, I just got breaking news from the NBA that Anthony Davis underwent a procedure to repair a detached retina he suffered during the season. Now, Anthony Davis plays for, I believe it's Dallas now, or LA. It's either LA or Dallas. I know he played for the Lakers, and I'm pretty sure, I think he's still with the Lakers, but he's got a detached retina. He went in for surgery with that, so we wish you a speedy recovery with that, Anthony. Moving on to Formula One, we had Landon Norris win again. I believe this is his 4th win this season. He wins the Qatar Airwaves Grand Prix, which is great. He's making his name like Lewis Hamilton, who finished, I believe, 4th or 5th in that race in Qatar. The next race is June 27th. It's the Belgian Grand Prix. It comes on ESPN at 9 a.m. on July 27th. So it's not this coming weekend, but I believe it's the following weekend. And I'll be watching. I'll be recording and watching. But moving on to the what we're listening to segment, we're listening to the Marshall Tucker Band. They're a southern rock band from Spartanburg, South Carolina. They formed in 1972, and I found out about them early in the early 90s because I grew up listening to southern rock, and I'll talk about southern rock here in a few minutes. They had a self-titled debut album. They've had 22 studio albums, 30 singles, 10 music videos, 12 compilation albums, 10 live albums. The new album is The Next Adventure, which was, I believe, in 2017. I like their self-titled debut album. And speaking of the self-titled debut album, it is the lead single, Can't You See, musically is a mixture of country rock and southern rock. So southern rock, when you think southern rock, you think Marshall Tucker, Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers, Molly Hatchet, all those southern rock, Jethro Tull. The self-titled album, it has been ranked in the top 50 albums every country fan should own, and Paste Magazine described the album as a southern rock classic. But southern rock is a genre that I really enjoy. It's all like 70s, 60s, 70s type music. And like I said, Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers, Marshall Tucker, Jethro Tull, Molly Hatchet, all those are just phenomenal bands and some of my favorite classic rock bands. So this week, in the what song we're listening to, I want you to listen to the song Can't You See. In fact, I want you guys to listen to that whole self-titled album because it is good. And I actually have the privilege this weekend of going to see the Marshall Tucker Band live in concert. And I know you're like, well, they're a 70s band. Well, 70s music is good. 70s, 80s, and 90s. I love all that music. Not to mention some of the early 2000s, but when I think about some of my favorite genres, it's the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I've always said the 90s are the last great decade for music. But before I go, I just want to say, I want you guys to comment who you guys are listening to, what genres you're listening to, what's the music bands and artists you're listening to. And in a music news segment, Rob Thomas is actually releasing his new single on July the 11th, which is Friday, and his new album comes out in September. So everybody go check out Rob's new single. It's called Hard to Love, and it drops on Friday. And let me know what you guys think. And like as always, let me know what you guys are listening to, the genres, music, artists, all that. But I want to thank you guys for going the distance with me this week. And I hope you guys have a good rest of the week, a good weekend. And we will be back next week. God bless.